Hi, everybody. This is Bill. Welcome to the Color and Pageantry. What a major week it was in college football, week 2. Plenty of action, and boy, we thought it was going to be a quiet weekend. Tons of upsets. So, first, we're going to look at who fell out of our top 25 from last week, look at some of the teams that are barking on entering the top 25, and we'll do that along with some news and notes before we present this week's top 25. Now, following out of last week's top 25, we have 4 teams. Texas A&M, who was ranked 5th, upset at home by Appalachian State. They barely got any offense going. What a surprising situation it is there. Number 6, Notre Dame, who played Ohio State very close in week 1, defeated at home by Marshall. Pittsburgh was ranked number 22 after their win in the backyard brawl, but they fell at home to Tennessee, who's another good football team. And last, Wisconsin was ranked 24th. We did not have high hopes for Wisconsin this year, and they were taken out at home by Washington State. More on that in just a minute. Now, as you'll see, some of the teams that were lurking behind have moved into the top 25 this week. But for this week, those who are just outside of the top 25, we think, are Penn State. We like Washington State after their big victory. Of course, we have Texas A&M and Pittsburgh, who lost this week. Marshall, Oregon, Purdue, Iowa State with a big win at Iowa. Cincinnati, we like Syracuse. We like what we're seeing from them so far. South Carolina, Auburn, Air Force, Texas Tech with a big victory against Houston. The Washington Huskies. Maryland's looking pretty sharp this year. UCLA, LSU, TCU, North Carolina, and the aforementioned Appalachian State Mountaineers. So let's look at who's hot. Washington State and the Sun Belt. Did you see the Cougars win at Wisconsin? Man, they were playing hard, flying around the football on defense and really running the ball tough on offense. When you couple a great game plan with some players who hustled with heart, and you got a buy-in then that can produce some big wins. And the Cougars got one at Wisconsin, so congratulations to those guys. Now we need to talk about Kentucky. They're a very strong program under Mark Stoops, and that was a really big win for the Cats down at the Swamp. Last week we just talked about how tough it is to play down there. Kentucky, they got it done, even though we thought it might be too tall of an order for them. They held in, man. They made some key defensive plays, slowing Anthony Richardson down. And they scored big in this eye-opening win for the Kentucky Wildcats and Coach Mark Stoops. So let's talk about the Sun Belt. Oh my goodness, man, were they heard from? Speaking of the herd, the Marshall Thundering herd. They were thundering. Hey, Florida State transfer Kalen LeBourne ran for 161 yards as Marshall rolled up into South Bend, controlling the entire game and upsetting Notre Dame. Now that's a huge win. Now Appalachian State, as we mentioned, fresh off a heartbreaking overtime loss to North Carolina, went into Aggie land and put all kinds of heat on Jimbo Fisher. And the night culminated with Georgia Southern, who ran and threw all over a guessing Nebraska defense all night, scoring a late touchdown to inexplicably win at Lincoln, which appropriately resulted in the termination of Husker head man Scott Frost. Now, speaking of Frost, I thought this was nothing short of a home run hire when it happened, and I'm astonished at how badly this has gone. It seems accountability and poor recruiting. Just look at the Huskers' defensive line this year, man. They're short on dudes. Those two things seem to be the main culprits in this whole thing going so sideways. But Frost, who seems to care about the Big Red as much as any Husker fan, knows that losing to Georgia Southern at home in year 5 after going 3-9 the year before is simply not going to get it done. So Frost is out. We wish him the very best. Another former Cornhusker quarterback, Mickey Joseph, is going to run the team for the rest of the season. So who's not hot? Well, the Big Ten West comes to mind, with Iowa and Wisconsin suffering home losses as solid favorites. But it has to be Texas A&M. They knew, or they should have known, that Appalachian State was coming to play. Still, the talent-laden Aggies labored around and failed to produce the offense needed to get the job done, which is surprising because Jimbo Fisher is supposed to be an offensive guy. Some folks had the Aggies as a playoff team, but it sure don't look like it at this point. Okay, folks, so here's our top 25 for this week, week 2. We have Georgia taking over the number 1 spot. Alabama did look a little shaky in a spirited effort by the Texas Longhorns. We think Texas might have won that game if their quarterback hadn't got hurt. Alabama's still Alabama, folks, but Georgia is the one who's hitting on all cylinders right now, so they deserve the number one ranking. Southern Cal moves up. North Carolina State, they're getting by. They've got some chances later in the season to prove that they should be up there. We think they are going to get it done. Kentucky moves up there after their big win at Florida. Michigan State, Brigham Young beat Baylor at home the other night. We think Baylor's pretty good, so Brigham Young is very good. They got a murderous schedule the rest of the way. We don't know if they can hang in there, but we shall see. Texas is 18th after that game that they had. Utah flinging back after their loss at Florida. Now the next four teams we have are new to the top 25, or four of the next. Kansas State, they look very good. Minnesota, they're the king of the Big Ten West right now. Mississippi State went out to Arizona and got a win. Folks, that's a big win for Mississippi State way out there on the West Coast. Baylor, of course, losing there to Brigham Young. We got Florida State entering the situation. That was a big win over LSU. LSU looked good last week. We're going to see if Florida State can capitalize on this spot. In the past, they've fallen off here. So let's see if the Seminoles can make it another win. They are at Louisville on Friday night. Florida drops to 25th. All right, so there you have it, our top 25 for week 2. Now, we would love to hear your thoughts on our rankings. Drop us some comments. Let you know what you think. Is there somebody that you think should definitely be in there that's not? We'd like to hear about it. Please feel welcome to follow us on Facebook at The Color and Pageantry. We do invite you to like the video and subscribe to our page. But more importantly, we'd like to thank you for watching this week. And we'll see you next week, week 3. I mean, it's going to be interesting. So got some big games, and somebody's going to get upset. I can promise you that.